Hello, and God damn it, son of a bitch. Hello, and welcome to. Oh, that's gonna fall over during this. To another episode of To Live and Bike in LA. We have a great guest on today, but look at that. Here he is joining us. No need for preamble or discussion. Please welcome to the show. Ahmed Bharoocha, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
What's happening? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, can you hear me? Do I need to get headphones or anything?
Depends. What is your headphone situation?
I have some Bose.
If it has a microphone on it, yes. If not, doesn't matter.
Okay, no microphone.
Okay, yeah, then just use this. This is fine. You sound great.
Cool.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm going crazy.
Okay, let's jump right into this. I'll do a thing at the beginning, but Ahmed Bharoocha.
I'm gonna get a thing of water just so I
Okay, yeah, go for it. I'll tell everybody who you are. As much as I know he was in the Boston area. I don't know if Ahmed's from Boston. That's where I met him when he came back once. He's a hilarious stand-up comic. Been on, I know Conan for sure. Probably, I want to say 2 other ones. And then he's also in an amazing Adult Swim show, Dream Corp. That it's a hilarious show. It's Dream Corp, right?
Yeah, Dream Corp LLC. But you can just say
LLC,
Dream.
right? And that's Adult Swim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the?
But also on Hulu.
Oh, cool. Did they pick up all their stuff? I've noticed so much stuff jumping onto online platforms. Like HBO bought up, I think, South Park and shit.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
they only have our first 2 seasons, but I'm not exactly sure how it works. I think we were supposed to maybe go. Our 3rd season got delayed because I think Hulu does own the streaming rights and someone else wanted it or something. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah.
They don't let you can't veto that. They come and they're like, we're going to sell it to Hulu. And you're like, I'm out, guys.
I know. No, not me, man. I just want people to see it. I was happy that it was on Hulu because I think most people I know, that's how they watch TV.
Yeah, it does. I mean, a lot of cool shows have been on Adult Swim because people would stay up late and, college and shit and watch those. But now I just really feel like the scheduled television is a thing of the past.
Yeah. And most people just don't even have it. I don't have cable.
I haven't had a television and just watch stuff on the computer. And we actually got a projector now. So we just project our computer up onto the wall to watch shit.
Nice. You're in the future.
Yeah, well, we're trying. We moved out to the beach too. We're living the beach life. You've had a couple big moves now. So tell me, you guys are going on the road?
Yeah, so we a couple weeks into the pandemic, we left LA. We had some other family stay here, and we moved to a house that we rent in LA. We own a house in Big Bear, which we normally Airbnb, but when everything shut down, we just panicked, got someone to stay here. We went there. We stayed there till last week, and we moved back here. And then this month, we're trying to pack up this whole house to just become nomads a little bit for a little while.
Nice.
And we're gonna go driving around like just to deserted areas, like national parks and stuff, and just kind of.
Yeah, I mean, around here too, in the West, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of like BLM land, and which I feel bad for that organization because they did not mean to be in the shit that like everybody's asking BLM, and they're just a bunch of people in the woods that are like, what's going on?
Huh?
But yeah, for the listeners that don't know, it's Bureau of Land Management is pretty much all your land. It's all the federal government owned by the people land, and you can go use, and you can camp on there for up to 14 days in one spot without having to move.
Oh, wow. That's
yeah,
awesome.
unless it's designated that it's like, you can't camp there. But like we went one time to the Kern River. I forget the town that's closest to there, but it's about a couple hours from here, right in the Southern Sierras. And right on the river with like big river, a little bit of rapids and stuff. And it was all these dispersed camp spots that you could just drive your car up to. And it had like a
Yeah,
little grill and stuff, and no reservations, nothing. Just pull up and camp for as long as you want.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And they, California has them all over the place and up into Oregon, Washington, shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of seems like nothing else to do, so I might as well just go to nature and look at it.
And plus, I mean, rather than have the same experience everybody else is having, and then when we come out of this, whatever you're writing about or doing on stage, like you're actually going to have some different fucking stories than other
Yeah,
people.
that's what, like, I normally hate moving, but I kind of like it right now because at least the last 2 weeks I've been, not looking at my phone as much and just kind of doing something. So
Yeah.
a little bit.
I think because I was on the road for a year, but it was, shit was normal. And I would bet you're going to go even more off your phone because every time you check it, it's just going to be the same thing. It's going to be people saying the same thing. And like the news, just the new version of the same shit.
Yeah, exactly.
When did you get a house in Big Bear? Why'd you choose there?
So we were like out for my show. I had a little bit of money and my wife was working a good job and we had like enough money that we thought we could maybe buy something, but we just couldn't buy anything in LA because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
So we looked at Joshua Tree for a while because we really like Joshua Tree, and then almost bought a couple of things there that just didn't work out, and then kind of looked in Big Bear and found something we liked and turned it into an Airbnb and figured we could kind of, instead of pissing off, because I'm not good at like if I have a lot of money, I'm just going to slowly get rid of it.
It's the best.
So,
you buying pair of shoes at a time and new jeans every day.
I think my wife was like, now that you have this money, let's not just let you spend it all.
And you're like, it's my money. I'll decide.
Yeah.
So, honey, I think we should invest.
Give her whatever I get because she's smarter than me.
It is nice. Like my wife and I are trying, we try and work out budgeting stuff between us too, but it is nice to just be like, here's everything I got. Now just give me what I can spend. And that's it. Okay, cool. Exactly. And everything else is all set. All right, great.
Yeah, that's how I like to be. Don't tell me what we have.
All right, I want to go back for a minute because I really don't know where. I know that you were in Boston. You did stand up in Boston for a while, but are you from that area?
No, so I was born in California. And then I moved to Rhode Island when I was 16. Went to college there, and that my mom's from Rhode Island.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I was pretty mad at the time because it was like leaving sunny California and going to cold, harsh New England.
With your last there, so 2 years of high school?
Cool. Yeah, 2 years of high school. That was like, culture shock a little bit. It's still America, but it's pretty different.
Yeah.
Got to play ice hockey first time, so that was fun. And I'm actually really happy I did move in the long run. I think I'd like even my own kids to move at some point. I just think it's just good to, even if it's just somewhere else in America, just kind of nice to just change your surroundings and learn about different people.
Yeah, see, so it makes me like jumping around the country and stuff, and especially traveling for stand-up and seeing. I like figuring out what the vibe of a city or a place is. And when you go, when we were in the bus, we did about a week in each city or place we were in. So you really got to like kind of feel how this place flows and stuff, and it gives you a better perspective on like when you just hear random shit in the news about places, but when you can actually picture like, well, I know how it is there, so maybe I can imagine a little better why it might be this way or that.
For sure. And stand up, I get to do that all the time, so that's kind of what I'm excited about. What's been hard for me during this whole thing is, which I think for a lot of people is just sitting still and being in the same spot forever. And I'm happy. I even just like we were taking a couple of trips back and forth, moving our stuff, and just driving 2 hours is, as long as it's not stuck in traffic, is just so calming to me.
I went down to San Diego last week and did a set at the American Comedy Company, and usually that's something like if I had to work during the day and then make it to San Diego with regular traffic for a show that night, it would just be like exhausting. And then by the time you're coming back, you're like kind of nodding off as you're trying to make it back.
They probably closed down part of the highway on you.
Yeah. And like, it's always way quicker coming back, but you're like, I'm so tired. It's hard to go 90. But this time, because I didn't have anything to do during the day, so I left whenever I wanted. It was just like I was like, this is going to be fun just to
Yeah.
drive this far away.
Yeah. Just moving. Moving is
Yeah.
nice.
And then we did go one time over to Joshua Tree and camp for the weekend. And that was also nice. That was nice to get out. And then also out there is so like, it's like a different world. It feels like you're going to a different country, just geography, what it looks like. It feels like you're going into like Morocco or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of never really knew much about it, and we just kind of recently discovered it, and I didn't really think that the desert would be somewhere I would like to spend much time.
Yeah.
But once we went there, I was like, oh, there's this like different energy in the desert that's really awesome. I don't know if I'd want to live there forever, but it's like there's nothing there, so it's just kind of like this clearing of your mind a little bit,
It's
and
very
we
the
did see mushrooms
vastness
there, and it was like a
nice
adjusting of perspective and looking at some jackrabbits jumping around and stuff.
Nice. Those mushroom like rock pillar stuff too. I haven't done mushrooms out there yet, but I really want to, and just go watch those things come to life.
Yeah. So I haven't done a lot of mushrooms, but that was probably my favorite time doing
That's
it.
a great place.
See the stars, like looking at the stars on mushrooms. It's like, it was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember one time when I was 19, laying on the ground on mushrooms, looking, and it was like they were breathing. It was like the bright ones would be like,
yeah.
I was just like stared for hours.
For me, there was this moment where I'd never thought about it this way before, but I realized that you could see beyond the stars. Like I always kind of pictured the stars being the end, and I was like, oh, whoa, they're like three-dimensional. Like the black is behind the stars as much as it is, but it's like it was just kind of this weird, like, I always looked at them like this, and it just went like, and you're like, oh wow,
that is such a mushroom thought, though, of the black is behind the stars.
Yeah. Like I always thought it was like the black and the stars were on the black. Yeah,
like it's a construction paper with holes poked through it, and not like marbles on a rug. Oh yeah,
and at the time I could swear that I could like feel that they were like, oh, I see it. I see that there's this empty space back there.
I could see how it's like those vision painting things where you got to let your eyes
go. Which
I've
never been able to see. Maybe I should try mushrooms and look at those.
Oh yeah, for sure. That thing will dance out and slap you on mushrooms.
I like have one in my house, and I still to this day have never seen one thing pop out. Like everyone's like, oh, there's dolphins. There's dolphins there. I was like, where the fuck are these dolphins? Like crossing my eyes, making them fuzzy. Just need some mushrooms.
Has your kid been able to see it yet?
I don't think he's old enough to get the concept, or I don't know if I've even showed it to him. He's like,
you should try. I bet that's all he'll see. I bet he'll just look instantly and be like, dolphins, what?
Dolphins, yeah.
So you moved to Rhode Island because your mom was from there, and so you did last two, and that made you go to school there? Where'd you go to school?
Yeah, I just went to URI, University of Rhode Island. Went there for 6 years.
What years, might I ask?
Graduated high school in 2002, so 2002 to 2008.
So you were there with my wife, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yep, she's
what
from
did she study?
Connecticut, and great question. I want to say English, maybe. I don't know. Hang on.
Oh, never saw her then.
What's your undergrad degree in? Oh, journalism, of course. Yeah, journalism.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I also was there visiting a friend one time when they had all of the mini riots there when the Red Sox went into the World Series. I was on campus that weekend.
They like turned over a teacher's car and someone got hit in the head with a brick.
Yeah, it was like a kid with a Yankees hat on or something, just got fucked up. And I remember just seeing a pack of like 100 kids together walking down, and I was like, that just doesn't seem like that's going to go well. Like they're not going to go around picking shit up or anything.
That was definitely one of the biggest differences from when I moved to California to New England was the sports fandom, like
Mm.
energy, you know?
Well, where in
Like,
California
you
were
know,
you?
I was in Santa Barbara, so we didn't, we weren't in like a big city, but
Yeah.
I like the Kings and like my sister likes the Lakers and stuff, but there wasn't this like, I mean, I still don't see it as much here as this like
Oh yeah.
ride or die. Like, this is my team. This is my life. This is everything to me. It's bleeding out of my eyes that I
I
love
mean,
this
it's
team.
it's also like the only way most father and sons bond
Yeah,
growing up
yeah,
is
that's true.
through going to Red Sox games or watching Patriots on
Yeah.
Sunday and shit.
This is for you, Dad.
It's the only way they know. I would imagine like driving to a Patriots game from like Waltham is like is some guys and their dads like that was the time I got the closest to you ever growing up. Was
Yeah,
that we were stuck in traffic going to the Patriots that day?
our elbows touched.
I know. I went to a Pats game with my dad, only
Yeah.
one I'd ever been to, and it's the first time I smoked a joint with him.
Oh, that's
We
pretty cool.
hotboxed his car before going in.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was good.
my dad loves hockey, and some of our best times have even been with that. But I still like that's kind of almost. I love hockey, but I'm not a huge sports fan, I guess. Like, I love it, but like more so just because my dad loves it so much. I'd
Oh
rather
yeah,
just play pickup hockey than follow it along. I gotta go to like a live game, but I'm not gonna watch every game of the season on
totally.
TV.
I think
But he will.
hockey has
He will.
some of the best playoffs for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I'll watch playoffs all day long.
Yeah, it's so fun to like start it, like, all right, who are the 8 teams? Who's in? Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, because you get some fucking
So
battles
intense and gritty, and
and
people
they
are
don't give a
playing their
shit
hearts out.
about injuries. Like, if they can
Yeah.
stand up, they
They'll
will
play
be out
through
there.
it. Yeah. Was it
I think it was,
Chara this year that was, or a couple of years ago? Oh, that was a game I watched on mushrooms. That actually, that was when the Blues won. Was that day
yeah,
in
yeah.
the desert? I think Chara was playing. He had like a broken jaw, and he was just
He had the
playing.
jaw wired together, and then I think it was either the Blues or when they lost to the Blackhawks. That might have been the year or two before. They've actually gone like they won one, but they've been to I think the Bruins have three in the last
Wow. Yeah.
maybe 12 years because I think they won in like 2010 I think. Uh,
Can't remember.
but it was like Marchand or somebody turns out had a broken femur the last game. They lost the game and everybody was like, you guys were slugging and stuff. And he's like, well, my leg was broken and I was skating on it.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's because they're dads. It's all because of their dads.
Excuse me. So did you start stand up in college or did you go up to Boston afterwards?
I started in college. Let me just before I answer that. I think my
Oh yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's just this is good for people to know because just your name is up there, and so if you watch the YouTube, there's his name. You can go follow him on everything.
Am I back? Are you back?
I hear you. I just don't see a video.
Huh.
Which are you on? Oh, there you go. Boom.
I just switched Wi-Fi's because there's one that's like far away.
Oh yeah.
I think I was on that one. I started stand up in college in Rhode Island. It was like a summer. I was working at a comedy club for about a year. It was like a busboy and a dishwasher. No, Stitches. It was in Providence Place Mall.
Oh yeah. So I've never been there, but I think I worked
it only existed for like 2 years.
I didn't work for them, but did they own also the one in the Bahamas?
I don't think so, but I didn't know. I was just kind of a young, unaware person at the time, so
yeah,
they could have. But I thought
there's
it was
one there
like
now. I forget what it's called. But it's either them or the Heffron there.
Yeah, I think I know
Comedy Zone guys. But wasn't that place like a coke den?
I didn't see any, but again, I was kind of just like a kid with my head in the clouds.
Yeah.
I was washing the dishes but it was not a good comedy club. Like, it was very bad. Like, even as me, I was like elated to be there because I just wanted to be near comedy, but
You were a fan of it, and like you knew you wanted to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to do it forever, and I didn't even know that it was a comedy club when I like applied to work there. I thought it was just like a funny restaurant because it just said like Stitch's Comedy Cafe, and my sister was like, "Oh, there's a place called Stitch's Comedy Cafe. Maybe you should try to work there." And I thought it was just like the waiters would come up to you and be like, "Hey, here's your soup, dummy," or something like.
Well, there is the Roadkill Cafe. They
Yeah,
used to have a few of those around New England, and that was their thing, is we're mean to you.
yeah, that's what I thought it was, and then I realized, oh, and I was telling like the guy that I was interviewing me, who was like the chef, was like, "I love comedy," and like, he's like, "All right, will you do the dishes?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do the dishes." And I thought somehow I was gonna be doing comedy as well.
And then you got there and you're like trying to figure out, like, how do I make this turn from here to the stage? Because I don't see anybody else in here going to the
No,
stage.
it took a year for me to even admit to anyone that I wanted to like get up there. And then I did,
So is that where you went up the first time? Did they actually give you stage time?
Yeah. Probably worked there for about a year, and then just finally was like, hey, what do I? And they're like, "Oh, you just go to the open mic and put your name down." I'm like, "Oh, cool." I was waiting a year to build up the courage to check.
Did you do that consistently there once you figured out how?
No, it's funny. They closed like a week later. And they didn't even tell me they closed. I just found out at a different comedy show. I was at a comedy show and someone's like, "Oh, you don't got a job anymore, huh?" And I'm like, "What? What happened?" But they should have closed. I remember they were like trying really hard to stay alive, and they were gonna get like a big name to try to like reinvigorate the place.
Oh boy,
and it was Dave Coulier. And they couldn't even
that's
get him.
usual. Dave, I feel like, has done the last weekend at a lot of clubs.
Yeah. And we never got him, but they were like,
"Oh, he never made it?"
No, that was their like hopeful plan. They were like, "We're gonna get Dave Coulier in here, and things are gonna turn around." You know,
him, especially in New England, I saw him, on posters and stuff for so many of situations like that. It would be him and Gilbert Godfrey. Would be like, "I'll go anywhere and I'll do anything."
Grim Reapers of comedy.
Yeah. And it's almost like they're like, you could just look their number up in the phone book and they're like, $2,000. That's all you got to get. And I'll show up.
Yeah.
So then did you move to Boston after that? You want to keep doing it?
I never actually lived in Boston. I just did comedy. Yeah. I did comedy in Rhode Island for about maybe 3 years in college. I did like, I didn't really go outside Rhode Island much. I went to Boston once, and then I would go down to like New York and do bringer shows every once in a while. But then about
down there,
just like at the time it was the Improv, and then it switched to the Broadway Comedy Club.
Oh yeah.
And I just didn't know the path to getting better or seen, and I just thought that if you're in New York doing these bringer shows, that was where the magic was.
That's
one time where I drove down with like a car full of friends, and it wasn't enough to be on the bringer show, and they just like didn't let me do it, and I was like,
they just said no.
Yeah. Oh. So it was just like shit. Just drove 3 hours with 4 people in my car. Wasn't enough. And so then like I don't know, I just kind of crossed paths with enough Boston comics
that were coming down.
Like, oh shit, there's a whole cool scene up here where you can do comedy every day. Like, I didn't know that people did it every day. At first I thought once a month was a lot. Then when I was senior year of college, or my third senior year, I started running a couple shows. And so I was like, I'm doing it once a week. Yeah. Started figuring stuff out then. And then that's when I kind of fell in love with Boston. And I still lived in Rhode Island, but I loved the Boston comedy scene so much that I would drive up like 4 to 6 times a week. Yeah. Maybe sleep on a friend's couch, maybe just come back home. And because it was just more stage time there, and there was a lot more comics my age who were doing it more, in Rhode Island. There was a few people my age, but not as much. You know, it was more like older guys that have been doing it and doing the same jokes and just kind of,
Yeah.
you know, not letting you like run with them at all. You know,
Yeah, some of those guys are weird. I know what is it? RJ Bartlett. Did you know him at all? I think he was a Rhode
yeah,
Island
yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there was a couple others. Oh, James Creelman too. I think
Oh
is
yeah,
a
so those guys all started kind of more when I was kind of on my way out of Boston. So I knew
yeah.
James pretty well, but I kind of like left right when I kind of met him, and RJ
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So that was
But
kind of when I was
they
meeting
like clued me into. I went down a few times, but I was doing the same thing from Portland. I
Yeah,
started there, but it was like you could get on stage twice a week. Actually, at first it was once a week, and similar thing happened. I didn't work at the comedy club, but the Comedy Connection in Portland, I won their contest
nice,
9 months into stand up, and I won $1,000. And then they were like, "We're
nice.
going to give you all of these hosting spots,"
Yeah, that's great.
and then they closed. And then
Oh.
they closed.
I
They
mean,
got
like, you know,
shut down by the health board maybe 3 months after that.
you know, I don't love contests and stuff like that, but there is like, you know, there is cool things you can get from them. Like if that didn't close, like you would have had walked your way into just like a bunch of stage time.
Bunch of stage time, meeting, getting to work with headliners,
Yeah.
definitely would have helped. But yeah, I hate contests.
Yeah. Well, they
They
pity us against each other and make us kind of think it's you, us, me, or you. You know, or
Yeah, and they
and it
make
just
all
kind
of
of
the
makes
money
you
and then
think of
give
comedy
us
in
a
a weird.
little bit.
Yeah. There's so much wrong with it.
Yeah.
But I did
Another.
plenty of them. And
I also won the Dick Doherty's one year,
ooh,
and
that's pretty impressive.
they never booked me, not once. They paid me $800, and then were like, "Do you want to work the door?" And I was like, "I won the
Yeah.
contest."
Yeah, they were rough. They would. I remember they wouldn't let. I didn't go there much, but I just kind of went with a friend, and I wanted to, you know, hang in the back room, and
No.
they just wouldn't let you in, and it was just like when there's that kind of vibe, I'm just like I don't
Yeah.
really want to feel unwelcome all the time. Like most comedy rooms, it's just like you're a comic, you know this comic on the show, come in. You know, it's gonna
Yeah.
just create a community. But they
Yeah,
had
or
this
I
like,
mean, they wouldn't even be, like if somebody's on the show and they're like, "Oh, this guy's with me and he's coming into the back." That's all
it's
that
all
need
you.
be said. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not
Like
like
even
stealing money
as
from
weird
them.
as the Comedy Store is with like their front and back areas and stuff, if it's a paid regular and he says that person's with me,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
that's enough to be said.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing I like about the Comedy Store. You know, sometimes it can feel exclusive, but there is at least that like, hey, you're a comic, you can hang out at least. Maybe you can't hang out in this bar area, but
Yeah. And
you can
also they
come
are
in.
good about like if there is open room. I mean, the belly room, it's kind of up to who's doing the show up there.
Yeah, the
But
producer of the show.
the OR and the main room, if there's room and you're a comic and at least kind of know one of the door guys, they'll let
Yeah,
you go sit in there and take up a seat.
it just creates like a good community. You know.
Yeah, I've also liked it too. I mean, when it was still open, of going after doing shows and stuff, I would go by at like midnight or 1 and watch those last couple sets,
Yeah, those
knowing
are
that
fun.
like when you get past here, these are the first sets you're gonna have to do. So like come
Yeah,
check out what it's like, and kind of get, so it's not
yeah.
like weird going to like,
Or
you're
someone's
basically
sweeping up.
going, yeah, sweeping up. But the weird thing is that it's that time of night, because I've done plenty of shows like those in fucking rural places where that's the
Oh
eight
yeah,
o'clock show is 12 people.
yeah. But at the Comedy Store, they've burnt through the audience by then.
Yeah. I love that. It's fucking in and out, in and out. So then did you move to New York or LA?
I moved to I'd say I spent about 4 years kind of driving up to Boston, and then I'd go down to New York a lot too. I knew enough people down there by the time, and then my sister lived down in LA, and so I was kind of debating New York or LA. And since I'd spent a good amount of time in New York and I lived there for like a summer, I went to right to LA because my sister and I was from California, so I also just have that kind of childhood attachment to this place. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I like it out here too, and I like I love stand up too, but I also love like movies and all that stuff. And I think there's, a little bit more opportunity here than there for that.
Yeah. I think
And
it's
being
also
with my
just
sister.
a way of life too. Like what type of living do you prefer? Where I just grew up in the woods and not around as many people. So it's like if I have to live in a huge city, I'd rather it be spread
Yeah.
out, nice, a lot like outdoory type city opposed to the buildings and stacked
Yeah.
on top of each other and stuff in New
Yeah.
York. It's just like I can never vibe with it. It never felt good.
And I kind of romanticize New York a little bit. And when I lived there, I could kind of see myself getting like a little bit more angry and a little bit more like, get out of here. And
Yeah.
I kind of didn't want that to happen. I wanted to keep it this like magical place that I liked.
Yeah, I can do like it'll be like a Meg Ryan weekend in
Yeah,
New
exactly.
York where you're just like, I went all over and then we shopped and it was a
Yeah.
fun. Like I like doing that. But yeah, after I think one winter there would
Oh yeah.
have me, I would punch somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then summer I probably would get at least several tickets, if not arrested, for peeing in public. I could see that happening in New
You're
York.
not allowed to do that there? I thought.
I mean, I think you do. I think I would just get so blatant about it. I would see the degradation of the city and be like, it
Yeah.
doesn't fucking matter. I'm peeing right here. Go
Yeah.
fuck yourself.
I'm peeing on top of the pee.
Yeah. Well, there's so much more. Okay, this leads into a great way of the shows to live and bike in LA, which sometimes we talk about bicycling, sometimes not at all. But do you ride a bike in LA or have you?
I don't even really know how to ride a bike.
Oh my God, you might be the first.
Yeah. I know everyone's always so shocked at that. My dad never
That's
let us, and I learned like in 8th grade. Like one day, one of my friends like put me on his bike and just waited till I was able to like go without him holding it, and that was the
yeah.
last time I ever rode a bike.
So wait, your dad wouldn't let you?
Yeah, he was, he's a very nervous guy, and I remember bikes where he was like, "No, don't, no bikes are dangerous. You're gonna die. Like, you hit by a car or
What happened
something."
to him on a bike?
I don't know. He might have. I think he probably rode bikes at one point. He might have gotten a little scuff, or he might have known someone, or he's just. That's kind of how he is about everything. A little bit. It's like
Just personal experience is everything.
no, I don't even know if he has to have had a personal experience. Just the idea that something can be dangerous. He's
What
like,
did
no,
he do? Or is it he
he.
still alive?
Oh, yeah, he's still alive.
Yeah.
He sorry, my alarm's going off. Stupid phone.
Oh, no problem.
My dad worked in restaurants most of my life, but now he actually works in a hospital, which is scary. In the cafeteria, he loves the job, which is cool because like he's used to like managing restaurants and like running around nonstop, and now in the cafeteria he just gets to kind of like work at the cash register and just like shoot the shit with people. But
Yeah, there's
now
never like a
COVID,
crazy busy
yeah.
hour at a restaurant
Yeah.
cafeteria.
Yeah, and it's like
Or at a hospital
he only
cafeteria.
works with the staff. Like it's not like a public cafeteria.
Oh, even
So,
better.
yeah, so at least with COVID, like there's this like element of like, okay, all these people are taking it seriously. They're wearing their shit. He's wearing his shit.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sketchy. Is that he's still in Santa Barbara?
Yeah, they're still in Santa Barbara. They took a month or so off of work, and then my parents are workhorses. They both just couldn't keep them away. We were like,
Have
no,
they just
don't
done
go
it their
back.
entire lives and they're like, we don't know what
Yeah.
to do otherwise?
They're like, but work. There's work. We must work.
That's how my dad is a little like that, but he at least admitted to me because he's 61 now and has been an extreme workhorse my entire life, and
Yeah.
with no college degree is now a Dunkin' Donuts franchisee with a few, and worked all these weird jobs that are like, it's funny because he's a pretty libertarian type guy. Because he literally is like one case of he pulled himself up by his bootstraps.
Yeah.
But all the things that he did, I'm like, do you know the likelihood of that happening?
Yeah.
First, like he was the head of fundraising for Children's Miracle Network. which is like they built the Barbara Bush Hospital in Portland, Maine, and they have like a national telethon every year for children's hospitals. And he helped create the Ronald McDonald House, which is at hospitals all across the country for families to stay in if their kids are in the hospital. With no college degree, he got this job. I was like, you can't even get that job now if you don't have that on your resume. He's like, I just, I knew what to do. And I was like, no, that's not.
Yeah. That's funny.
But he, for the first time, is like, I don't have the drive as much. I don't necessarily want to go in every day anymore. He's like, I'm starting to slow down. He said, I'm starting to not care. I'm starting to not care anymore.
Yeah.
Which is good. I wish he'd stop sooner than later. Because
totally. And like, I like working, and I'll probably always work no matter what, but like, you don't have to work yourself to the bone for no reason.
Yeah. And also doing stand-up, I mean, I could see like acting is more work than stand-up is.
Yeah, for sure.
In a sense of doing something maybe you don't necessarily want to do, or the monotony time
or
you have to put into it.
Longer hours and
less but control. Stand-up, slow down a little bit, but still, I'll get on stage fucking until I, can't even walk. I'll have people drag me up there.
Yeah, totally.
Dude, that's so interesting. So you have a kid. Are you do you care if he rides a bike? Is your wife going to have to teach him?
Ride a bike. I mean, I have inherited a lot of that fear. So who knows how I feel when he'll become the age, but I'd like him to know how to ride the bike. I think there's some middle ground, like it is dangerous. I wouldn't want him to ride it in New York or LA or anything like that, unless he was like really good at it.
Yeah.
But I don't mind him riding a bike down a bike path or like, in the country or something.
There is a lot of that here though, which is nice. Like there are places you can take them to go ride bikes. And then also depending where, he ends up living, like say you guys ended up on the west side or even in the valley or something, you're in Valley Village, he's going to end up having a pack of friends that,
exactly. Yeah.
I think we're going to go back to more of, kids going outside, riding around, hanging out within their local neighborhoods. Much less of they're in the car going to a scheduled thing every day.
Yeah. Which I'm all for that. That sounds cool. If he's like if he's going with his buddies and stuff, we gotta wear a helmet though.
Santa Barbara though, you're living there. You don't ride a bike. Did you do any of the California? Because that's what I think of growing up in California is like you skateboard, hockey, surf. You played hockey. Okay.
It was roller hockey, but
okay, even more. I say that is much more dangerous than riding a bicycle.
Well, roller hockey, there's no hitting, so.
Oh, really?
But also, my dad just loves hockey, and I love hockey, and like I think for him, like sports were really important, and so it's like it's exercise, which so is a bike. But I think for him, he just didn't want me with my bike on the street with cars,
Well, I see biking as exercise almost second, and more of transportation, and especially when you're a kid.
Sure.
When you're a kid, it's the first way you can get really away from your house. Without your parents and stuff. Yeah. Like, cause I grew up in such a, rural area. We were 2 miles from our little tiny downtown. So when I was about 12, my parents started letting me ride my bike downtown, and it was
cool.
I always had to get a ride down and then call them to pick me up. And I was like, now it was just, I could go whenever I wanted. Did you play roller hockey competitively?
I played on like some,
they had teams and shit.
Yeah. It was like, I don't know, it wasn't for school. I don't know what you call it. Like, just like leagues, that
rec league or something,
rec leagues type thing, or there was one travel team I was on or something like that. And then when I moved to Rhode Island, I started playing ice hockey on the high school team, which was cool.
And did you feel it translated? Like,
I mean, I had never gotten hit before, and so I was like playing with people that had hit their whole lives, and I'm not a big guy anyway,
and been hit their whole lives.
Yeah, so that was definitely like a huge adjustment. I liked it enough where I just, pushed through, and I never really like totally got good at hitting or getting hit, but I was fast enough and like spry enough to start just not letting people hit me.
Yeah. I mean, some of the Gretzky wasn't a fucking hitter. He would
Yeah,
avoid it any second he could. And
yeah,
same thing with like Crosby's not much of a,
yeah,
they're fast. And a lot of the times they like have enforcers on the ice with
yeah.
them because they're like, oh, he'll get ruined by any one of those guys out there.
What was really bad about it was I was like in like C division, I think, or maybe we were B, but we were. I think like the lower levels, like the hitting's like more dangerous because
They don't know
people
what
aren't
they're doing.
like doing it right. They're just like
Yeah.
hitting you in the face and stuff. So it was a little crazy because
It was that
adjusting
guy.
to ice was enough of a difference, and then now someone's gonna pound you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Was the adjustment to ice was you at least had balance, but it's definitely a lot
Yeah,
faster.
very different. Yeah, and just like with ice hockey, you're on this like the skate is rocked, you know.
Yeah,
and
opposed to a flat line,
just
of
flat.
wheels.
So especially the stopping is really what for me
Figuring
was
out how to like lean into that stop and
yeah.
stuff, and that you
Because
can
with roller,
do
you
that.
do this like wide swing where you kind of just like, or you just kind of drag your foot. But ice, you gotta do that short little.
Yeah, and they don't.
But you know, now I love it. I still do it.
Roller hockey, you play no break, right? You don't have a
Yeah,
break
no
on one
break.
skater.
Just you just kind of swing that leg
Yeah.
wide. I guess I haven't actually done it since I started playing ice. Because ice
Did
is
you
just
come
so
back
much
to
more fun.
rollerblading at all?
I did buy some during the pandemic because I can't play ice hockey now, but I haven't used them yet.
Yeah. Well, what part of town are you guys in now?
Right now we're living in Cypress Park, which is like Highland Park area.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're not great
But
for
it's
rollerblading
so
around.
hot right now. I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
go outside.
Yeah, it must be warm, dude. Moving down to Santa Monica because we were in Silver Lake before, but it's like we retired when pandemic hit.
That's
It's
what you
10
gotta
degrees
do.
cooler. It's flat. We just kind of walk with our dog around and stuff. This is a segment in the show where we show everybody this couple videos here just to get your reaction to them. How do you feel about like crash videos, like blooper videos or falling down?
They're funny.
Yeah. Are you a click on, like there's a couple Instagram accounts that I love. One is people getting hurt. Another is kids getting hurt. And Kook Slams is a great one for watching people fuck up surfing. That is really good. Because the ocean can really fuck people up that aren't
dude.
ready for it.
Yeah.
Let me just share my screen with you. Are you on phone or iPad or something?
Phone, yeah. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, I just make sure you should be able to see it fine. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I can see your desktop.
Yes, this is I do this.
Clouds.
I always have to mute it because I'm like, they're not sponsors of the show. I'm not giving them a free ad. All right.
The helicopter was just ready to come out and start filming.
Just get your reaction.
I just wanted to get one more in so I could, just be ready.
Ow! Bro, my ankles are broken! My ankles are broke!
His ankles are broken!
I got broken ankles!
He's coming for
Just didn't go fast enough.
They'll show a couple more
Sucks.
shots of the fall,
Right when
but
I
it's
took off, I
mainly
knew something
that.
was kind of wrong. Right as about 7:20, I knew it was going to be rough. When I was in the air, I didn't really hear anything. Really dead silence, and then I hit the wall and heard a really loud explosion, just right in my boots. Felt like someone packed dynamite in there, you know what I mean?
It's supposed to land
blew up.
on,
It was
you can see
crazy.
right here, just front side.
On both sides, he had fractures to the talus, which is
Yeah.
Supposed to go just a little further and land going down that other side.
I love that he
but-
just knew. I broke my ankles.
Well, that's what makes it. It's like such a horrific crash, but then saying that,
Yeah, like it
Just-
seemed like it was voiceover.
Yeah, I know it is. The sound is amazing for something they don't need sound for. Like it just, if that was a ski segment, they would be putting music over it. So I don't even know why anybody has sound equipment there.
They
when
wanted
they're
to hear
filming. Ankles are broken. But my favorite part of it is I think it's really a three combo of like what an amazing thing to be trying to do.
Yeah.
What an incredible crash. And then how silly at the end, and especially the second guy who yells, his ankles are broken.
I didn't even hear that guy.
Oh, yeah. It was, my ankles are broken. My ankles are broken. And then you hear another guy go, his ankles are broken. And it's made me hope for that I see something happen in real life that everybody saw, and then I just scream out what happened. I'm going to keep that in my quiver of things to do.
Yeah.
Like somebody,
that's your bucket list.
but even in more mundane situation, like old woman falls on the sidewalk and in front of a line of people, and everybody goes, oh, and they try to help her. And I'm just going to go, she fell on the sidewalk. Okay. And this is the other one. It has also, you'll see, there's just something about it, a little thing that happens that makes it a little sillier.
And if he hits that, he's got his backup plan covered.
There's 720. Oh, he's gone! Oh! Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Oh man, that was the heaviest slam we've ever seen.
It's a brutal fall, but in the replay here,
Lance, he's just
right
going
here.
so fast. He's trying to adjust his body.
Trying to adjust his feet and just trying to get his board back, and there it goes.
Oh, you saw his board go squarely up the wall.
He's 15 feet up, and he just fell. Another.
His shoes fly off.
His shoes
25 feet
Both
down.
shoes go flying off.
That's the worst spot he could have felt those wobbles.
Look at this.
Too.
He turns his body and he says, I'm all right, and takes it.
His shoes. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's the
Man. Yeah, that's why I don't ride bikes.
There is you might have added in a new. I'm gonna look that up, and it'll be new to the videos to watch. There is a great fall of Matt Hoffman, who's like a X Games legend BMX rider.
Yeah.
On one of trying to set the world record for half pipe air on a BMX bike, but like it was maybe 10 years before that, so they don't have that whole fancy ramp set up. It's a handmade ramp in a field, and he is getting pulled by a dirt bike into it as fast as he can go. And one of them, he just it's like you should have died from that. But I think he pretty much does what that guy did and just like pushed out too far, so he didn't land going back down the pipe and just like slams to the ground. But he's a guy who just like has done that repeatedly his whole life and just kept getting back up.
People like that are just so, I don't understand them. Their just brains are just built differently. They're just fearless.
It's not fearless. Well, some guys I don't know, because so I grew up competing in freestyle skiing.
Oh, really?
And yeah, like the first video I doing shit. I never did Chad's Gap, but like big jumps and shit like that. And I honestly think it's just you're not thinking about what could go wrong ever. Like it just doesn't even occur to you. You just think about how to do something right, and so.
Wow.
Like, and maybe it's like something's broken in your brain in that way but you just never consider the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's the first thing I consider.
Oh yeah, no, the first thing you think of is just like, how do I do this? I do it like this. Let me go for it. And then, but you'll see people with that mindset that have none of that physical ability though, who will go be like, I could just do this, and then they go up and do it. And you're like, you didn't know how to do it. You can't do that. Yeah, that's interesting. I because somebody else was saying that about like being daredevils and stuff, and it's like I never thought of it that way. I never thought of like I'm being a daredevil. It's just like you you
want to do
slowly build. You want to do it, but also you've gone so slowly. It's like in stand up.
Yeah.
If you've never done it and trying to go do an hour seems crazy. But
Yeah.
if you do it 2 minutes at a time, eventually an hour
build up the skill. Yeah.
And that's how I thought of like a lot of those. It's just like, I don't know. You just don't even consider.
You're just progressing, slowly progressing.
And then also but shit would still go wrong. Still, like that first skier was one of the best to ever do it, or he still is, still alive. Shit just goes wrong on an even bigger scale, but you still just don't even think about that.
Yeah, jeez.
So yeah, that's the video segment. I had one more question because I brought it up at the very beginning, but you did Conan, right?
Yeah.
What other late night have you done?
I did Colbert, the Late Show with Colbert.
Was that Cattle Call one, or was he there?
He wasn't there. Yeah, that was kind of a bummer.
How did you feel about that versus Conan, or pretty much all the other ones had been doing where it's just you're part of the show?
Yeah, I was definitely like not as special, and you kind of feel like there's a lot of elements to it that are a bummer because you don't get the crowd that's there for him, the crowd.
Yeah, that's what I would wonder is how is the crowd? Maybe it would almost be better because it's just that they're going to see a stand-up show.
I mean, because I think that I might be wrong, but I don't think they know they're not seeing him until they're there. Yeah, so there might be an element of them being
they're mad.
Yeah, like I don't know. I might be wrong, but I think they get like a voucher to come back or something to come see him. And so that part kind of just feels, it was still exciting. You still get to be aired on the television show with him.
Yeah. Who else was on the show that you did when it aired?
It was, I don't remember who was. I don't remember because they weren't really there when I was there.
Yeah, but I mean, if you found out too, it was De Niro and DiCaprio and me. You're like, motherfucker.
Yeah. Now, when I did Conan, it was Dr. Phil. And dude, he was like Frankenstein's monster. I thought it was like he was so different off stage than he was on stage. It was like they had to help him walk in and stuff. It just kind of seemed like he was like being propped up by
really cameras. And then he just turns it on when the cameras come on.
Yeah, he's just like, oh well, you gotta do it. He just seemed like a monster.
Was it a double segment, Dr. Phil?
No, there was someone else.
And did you get to meet him?
No, I think I might have walked by him, but he didn't seem ready to meet anyone. He scared me. He was huge. He just seemed like
Frankenstein. Really tall guy.
Monster. Yeah, he was and he just seemed like his body was broken. That doesn't come across
weird
on TV. He looks fine on TV, but just behind scenes, just seemed like he was just
struggling.
What's the guy in Game of Thrones, the mountain?
Oh yeah,
just seemed like something was wrong. But Conan was super nice, and it was really cool to meet him, and he just felt special. And brought over to the couch. There was that cool part, and he also I loved Colbert too, and I loved Conan. So there's this part of you that's I just want to meet them or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that it totally matters, but definitely it felt different, And
and also there, they saw your stand up. When Conan, he saw it. You can't
exactly.
Yeah.
But with that Colbert, I don't think I didn't know until I started kind of suspecting it. I was like, wait, is he gonna be there? But it wasn't kind of told to you. It wasn't hey, you're gonna come to New York and he's not gonna be there. It was just kind of started picking up the hints.
Yeah, that must have been when they were first started doing it, because I don't know if they did it ever since the beginning of the show that way.
No, they didn't. And I noticed it because I was watching a lot of the other sets before just to mentally prepare myself, and you could tell there was a switch a couple weeks before me where when comics would walk out, they would cut to the wide with
The
Colbert
two of them.
and the guy, the comedian. And then you just started seeing that shot was gone. And I was like, oh no, he's not going to be there.
That's where because once I heard they did that, I've had a couple other friends do it that way. And I was like, oh, if I ever got that opportunity, I would walk out and say hi to Steven. That would be the first thing I would say, would walk up to the mic and go, thanks, Steve, and then go into my shit.
I still fake wave to him. I was like,
nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to make people think he's there.
But you know what? Now what? Late night TV doesn't exist anymore. It's all who's going to have the best YouTube show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine? Okay. Would you do it if you got if they wanted you to do stand up on Jimmy Fallon, but it's Zoom from right where you are right now?
I mean,
I don't know if I would want to.
I wouldn't want to, but I don't know if I would say no. Yeah, I would not choose that. I would.
Yeah, that would be, and especially like if that's your first late night appearance, too,
yeah,
to be like, that's how you're introduced.
I mean, it's just like, I've been doing Zoom shows mostly to stay sharp, but it's just, I don't really like it. It's everything without there's no feeling there. Even some Zoom shows will have the crowd turned on. You can kind of hear them laughing, but it's just weird.
Yeah, it's hollow and empty.
I like that it's there so that we don't have to do nothing. But I can't wait to just like be in a room of people that are just like buzzing and.
Yeah, there's an energy that you feel from it that you physically feel it when you do well on stage.
And it's also like the laughter's so infectious there, where even though people can kind of hear each other laugh on Zoom, it's like when you're in a room and everyone's laughing, like you're laughing, it's just so infectious, and you can feel it. Whereas like you just kind of hear someone else's laugh over your, it's not going to make you go like, you don't feel like you're part of that.
No,
that room. So I miss that so much. And you just feed off of it. Makes you like get better when people are laughing. You just
and I've found and maybe it's not the best writing style, but backing myself into a corner on stage causes my brain, and I think it's a literal thing of goes back to like childhood and everybody fighting around me and wanting to say something to get it to stop. And because I kind of feel the same thing, but I will do that on stage and have come up with some of my best punchlines or tags for bits by just going like, oh my God, I need something else here.
Yeah. So much of my writing comes out on stage. You can prep a joke and write the, parts, but when you say it on stage and you can get a response and you can kind of keep going, or if you don't get a response, you go again. It's like, oh, they didn't laugh at that, well, I'll say something else. Or there's just so much of it that's like you're just riding like a wave or something.
Totally. And I will go, some people just go up there and say like, I will at least have one funny thing, or like going to a mic or something to work on a bit, be like, I wrote something funny, but I also know that I can expand on this a lot more. So let me start with this one funny thing and see if I figure anything else out up there.
So much of like my better jokes have come from like trying out the original idea that there is something funny there, but when it doesn't hit, you kind of keep going, and then you find something, it's kind of hard to make that happen when you're just sitting and writing. You should be able to. But.
I know, but for some reason, it's because I think your mind is allowed to wander too much when you're just sitting there writing. When you're on stage, you can't mind can't wander. It has to be so focused in on what you're talking about that it forces a new not a new, but like a more intense creation of thoughts or ideas in your brain. But I just had on Frank Castillo. I just had him on, and he was talking about the Zoom shows, and I hadn't even thought of this because I haven't done a single one yet. I've done a couple parking lot stand-ups where people are in their cars.
I would kill for that, yeah.
And I've done a couple of those, and then just the ACC the other night. And there was a open mic kind of on the beach, and a guy brought a boom box with a microphone, and people just sat on the beach.
That. Normally, that would sound like all those things sound like awful, like a parking lot, but now it's like, ooh, that sounds so nice.
You mean I say it to somebody's
I can
face?
See their faces.
But
how
he
was
was
the
saying,
ACC? How did that work?
They're doing it on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and it's basically like a mic that I emailed the guy, and he was like, "Oh, you're coming down from LA. I'll get you a good spot on there." But it's a max of 40 people in the room. Everybody has to wear masks.
Oh, nice.
No serving of anything, so you got to keep masks on the whole time. And then you can take it off when you go on the stage. But I went down, 2 people before me, sat down there for a minute. It was pretty much maybe 25 people.
And then are they wiping the mic or something? What do they do?
They have 2 different mics. So they put the mic out, bring the other one back, wipe it down while you're up there, bring that one out, bring the other one back. And because they've shut down all indoor shit, they're getting to keep doing it because they're calling it a protest. They're saying it's an individual protest. You can come watch each person protest one at a time. And it's, they're getting to, it's a little of a, but it was oddly, not emotional, but these feelings of going up and getting off and being in that room that I hadn't felt in the last set I did in a club was March 14th at the Improv. And then and that's after almost 9 years of doing stand-up, as much as fucking possible. And even those doing them outside and shit, you didn't feel it like I really felt it being in a club again and it's a lot of feelings that when shit was going, you almost didn't feel because you're just doing it so much. But then when it's taken away forever it comes back, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. This is why, oh yeah.
I honestly before the pandemic was, sometimes struggling with, I'd been doing it for, about 15, 16 years now, I guess 16 now. And, sometimes you just kind of do it and you're like, do I like this anymore? And now that it's gone, I'm like, oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
Because I kind of thought, I'm kind of tired or bored or, I've been to this spot and gotten laughs, but what's next or whatever, there's all these feelings. But now that it's gone, it's just like, oh, I actually, even if I never went further, I love just the idea of being in a room and making strangers laugh. I don't even need to go anywhere else after that.
So crazy too when I think about it now, because it's been we haven't done it so much, being down on the Venice boardwalk and seeing 35 people. And I had this thought the other day of if somebody who just went everybody stop, can you make these 35 people laugh? And being I might be able to, I might at first being no, this is terrible. But then realizing no, I do. I've written things. Let me tell them the things I've written. I think I can make them laugh.
And right now, people are probably dying for any kind of laughter.
Yeah, they're watching Zoom shows. That's how desperate they are.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, the Zoom. It's weird. Sometimes there's ones, where you can hear the people. The best one I had, weirdly, I couldn't hear or see anyone. And I don't know, I think I had a couple of drinks in or something that I was kind of found this silly zone for myself.
Oh, nice.
And it felt so good where I was just kind of maybe trying some new stuff or just not really worrying about. So there's a part of me that's I like that this thing that I could go, oh, okay, I'm ready for bombing.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of feeling the bomb no matter what, even if people are at their house laughing and loving it. All I see is my phone and then me.
Yeah.
And then I'm just talking to myself.
So that's what Frank was saying was, I don't want to bomb in my house. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Usually if you bomb, you can leave and go home.
I got to sleep here now.
Yeah.
I got to stay in this.
All right, man. Good luck. We should talk again before you take off. And best of luck on all of your journeys. And thanks so much for talking to me.
Yeah, it was good talking to you. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay alive.
All right. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Bye.